What do GOATs, war and the pass of the decade, have in common? They're all part of Luka Modric's incredible journey in football. Feeling excited to dive into today's topic?
And I'm Garrett, also pumped to explore this incredible story.
Welcome to Laid Back Learning with Leah and Garrett.
All right, let's set the stage for this one. We're talking about Luka Modrić, the Croatian midfielder whose path runs from a childhood shaped by war to becoming one of the greatest conductors of a football match that the game has seen. Like the guy who turns chaos into a rhythm you can dance to.
Here's something to get us started. Luka Modrić is known as a deep-lying playmaker, the midfielder who sits a little deeper and sets the tempo, like a musical conductor. He decides when the strings lift and when the brass holds back. Vision, passing range, and calm under pressure are his tools, and Modrić has them in ridiculous supply.
Personal note before we go deep. I tried recreating his famous trivela pass with my friends last weekend. The trivela is when you hit the ball with the outside of your foot to curve it. I wound up sending the ball into my neighbor's yard. Dog barking, me apologizing, my friends losing it. It shows how insane his technique is. He makes a very hard skill look like a casual flick.
That's so wild, and it's a perfect segue. What sets Modrić apart isn't raw speed or size, but a feel for space, timing, and disguise on the ball. Press resistance is the phrase people use, meaning when opponents try to crowd him, he still keeps the ball and finds the right pass. That calm is like a superpower in tight matches. Let's open the book on this. Luka Modrić was born in September 1985 in Zadar, Croatia. His early years were marked by the Croatian War of Independence. His family fled after his grandfather, also named Luka, was murdered. They lived as refugees for years, moving between hotels, and he played football in parking lots. That's where his close control came from. Limited space, hard ground, constant improvisation. Real talk, it shaped his resilience.
Then comes development. He trained at NK Zadar with coaches Domagoj Bašić and Tomislav Bašić, and Tomislav helped set up his move to Dinamo Zagreb's youth system. From there, Dinamo loaned him out to test him. In 2003, he went to Zrinski Mostar in the Bosnian Premier League, which is known for its physicality. He even joked later that someone who can play in the Bosnian Premier League can play anywhere. He won Player of the Year there at 18. That's pretty cool, right?
Next stop, Inter Zaprešić in 2004, where he helped them finish second. Then he returned to Dinamo Zagreb in 2005 and became a pillar. We're talking league titles, cup wins, Prva HNL Player of the Year, and a partnership with striker Eduardo that just cooked. He even captained Dinamo and scored a clutch penalty away at Ajax in a European qualifier. Pressure moments and steady nerves. That pattern keeps repeating throughout his career.
In April 2008, he transferred to Tottenham Hotspur in England, taking number 14 as a nod to Johan Cruyff, the Dutch legend who basically wrote the playbook for intelligent positional football. Early on, people doubted Modric's size for the Premier League. Not gonna lie, that league can be a sprint and collision fest. But he adjusted by moving a bit deeper under manager Harry Redknapp, where he started dictating tempo for Spurs. He got them into the Champions League in 2010 for the first time in nearly 50 years, a huge cultural shift for the club.
He did face setbacks, like a fractured fibula in 2009, but he returned strong and kept stacking performances. Then comes the transfer saga in 2011. Chelsea kept bidding, and there was talk of a gentleman's agreement with Tottenham's chairman, Daniel Levy. We'll come back to that later. For now, what matters is he stayed the 2011-12 season, scored a gorgeous long-range volley at Bolton, and then moved to Real Madrid in August 2012.
Madrid was a whole new world. He literally won a trophy, the Spanish Super Cup, within 36 hours of signing, but his first months were bumpy. Some voters at Spanish paper Marca even labeled him the worst signing of the season. That aged terribly. The turning point came in March 2013 at Old Trafford, where he curled in a long-range equalizer against Manchester United. After that, he was recentered as a deep-lying playmaker, and the team just snapped into focus around him.
Under Carlo Ancelotti and later Zinedine Zidane, he becomes the connector, the player who links defense to attack with smart passing. He partnered Xabi Alonso first, then Toni Kroos. Kroos is a German metronome of a midfielder, so pairing them was like giving the orchestra two conductors. In 2014, Modric's corner set up Sergio Ramos's 93rd minute equalizer in the Champions League final. La Decima, Real Madrid's 10th European title, and the moment that launched a dynasty.
There were injuries in 2014-15, and the team's dip without him basically proved how irreplaceable he was. Then comes the three-peat. Champions League wins in 2016, 2017, 2018. He's in the UEFA Team of the Year multiple times, gets FIFPro World 11 nods from fellow pros, and in 2018, he wins the Ballon d'Or. For anyone new, that's the big annual award journalists vote on for the world's best player. He also won the Best FIFA Men's Player and UEFA Men's Player of the Year. Breaking that long Messi and Ronaldo streak was massive.
Internationally, he's Croatia's captain and heartbeat. At the 2018 World Cup, Croatia reached the final and he won the Golden Ball as the tournament's best player. In 2022, they took bronze and he earned the Bronze Ball. In 2023, they finished runners-up in the UEFA Nations League, the Nations League being a European competition meant to replace friendlies with real stakes. Through all of that, he's guiding a small nation to huge stages and setting their record for caps, meaning national team appearances.
Fast forward to April 2022. That Trivela assist to Rodrigo against Chelsea got called the pass of the decade by Ally McCoist, a former Scotland striker and broadcaster. Thierry Henry, the French legend, called it absolutely perfect. Then Modrić kept stacking records at Madrid: oldest Champions League appearance for the club, oldest La Liga appearance, and oldest goalscorer for Madrid at 39. That's an outrageous aging curve for any midfielder.
He finally said goodbye to Real Madrid in 2025 after winning, among many honors, 6 Champions League titles and 4 La Ligas. He then joined AC Milan on a free transfer, becoming the oldest debutant in Serie A history on day one, providing an assist and MVP performance a week later, and soon a match winner against Bologna. That's defying time. He did suffer a fractured cheekbone in 2026 after a collision with Manuel Locatelli, which cut his season short. But the story remains the same: adaptability, resilience, and a steady excellence that keeps showing up in big moments. Okay, let's not let this one slide by. The gentleman's agreement rumor with Daniel Levy in 2011. A gentleman's agreement is basically a handshake understanding, not a formal contract. The claim was that Tottenham would consider a big offer if it came. Do I think these exist in football? Yeah, totally. They happen. But because they aren't binding, they get messy fast when the numbers or timing aren't right.
I'm with you that they happen, but show me the paper. Without formal confirmation, it's just he said, she said. Clubs are businesses. If you think you can keep your best midfielder and still hit your goals, you probably do it. Why would a club feel bound by something it didn't put in writing?
Because relationships matter. Players and agents remember promises, even informal ones. But here's where it gets really interesting. If the offer doesn't match the club's valuation, that handshake gets tested. Tottenham reportedly rejected multiple bids before keeping him that season, so from their perspective, the price or context wasn't right. Why do players go public about it sometimes?
It's leverage. Public pressure can shift narratives, but it can also backfire. In Modric's case, he stayed one more year, kept performing, then got his move to Madrid. Not gonna lie, that's a reminder that even in the noise, professionalism still speaks loudest on the pitch.
Pop culture moment. That Trivela to Rodrigo isn't just a highlight, it's a snapshot of how technique becomes art. McCoist calling it the pass of the decade and Henry calling it gorgeous are heavyweights of the game reacting. It shows how one pass can live in people's minds beyond the scoreline. Counterfactual time. What if Chelsea's £40 million bid in 2011 had been accepted? I picture Modrić joining a locker room that would win the Champions League in 2012 anyway, then shaping their midfield identity for years. Maybe he accelerates their transition play and possession control under different managers. Maybe Real Madrid's later three-peat looks different without him as the connector. It's not a small domino.
Here's another angle. Picture Modrić at Chelsea linking with players who arrived soon after, like Eden Hazard in 2012. That could have been a scary good pairing. Maybe Chelsea's domestic dominance grows. Maybe their European runs become steadier. And in Madrid, without Modrić, do Kroos and Casemiro evolve the same way? Does the Ramos moment in 2014 still flip the era if the build-up patterns aren't the same? I'm not saying it stops everything, but it definitely changes the flavor of that dynasty.
So there's your big picture. Born in war, raised on parking lot pitches, refined through rugged leagues, then standing at the heart of club and country for 2 decades. The accolades: 6 Champions Leagues, 4 La Ligas, the 2018 Ballon d'Or, national team medals, and record-breaking longevity. And somehow the memory that lingers is human-sized. The outside of the foot pass you tried in your backyard and sent into the neighbor's garden. Thanks for tuning in. Stay curious.
Keep exploring, and we'll catch you next time on Laid Back Learning.